is a follow-up video to the Just Do Shit life philosophy. That is the second video in the series. And what I would like to talk about today begins with first pointing your attention to, yes, that is my toilet in the background. And yes, this is related to the topic. The topic today is on second chances, forgiveness, and atonement. So, part of the just do shit philosophy that I've adopted in life is because I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. Now, granted, there is a difference between deserving and being entitled to one. You are not entitled to one just because you deserve it, but you do deserve a second chance. The difference here is if you want a second chance, hi baby, daddy's recording, wait. Anyway, if you want a second chance, then you should deserve it. You should be given that second chance. That is based off of the fact that you are willing to be contrite. You are willing to recognize where you're at fault. You're willing to accept that you need to do a lot of personal work to improve yourself. And when I've talked about that with some people, some have said that, no, some people just are complete monsters or complete pieces of shit. They don't deserve a second chance. One person I talked to in particular, a friend of mine I met in Thailand, said that I'm blinded by my Buddhist philosophy, which I'll get into in a moment. But my response to that is, well, it's a guiding principle, but it's not necessarily a rule for life and reality. So, the Buddhist reference here, two of the worst things you can do is to kill an arhat, which is a Buddhist saint, and to kill or harm your parents. There is a very well-known Buddhist whose name I can't remember, became one of the greatest sages, in spite of the fact that he murdered his father, who was an arhat. And yet, because of his sincerity, he did a lot of work, and he became a very well-known teacher and practitioner. Some might argue that this is a lot like the Jesus Band-Aid, that, oh, you're born again, you wash away your old sins, everything's forgotten. Nope. All that stuff did happen, but I believe that there are no bad people in the world. There may be some people who are misguided. However, there was a YouTube channel I once watched about a former prisoner, a former convict rather, and his experience in prison. I watched a lot of people's prison experiences and reintegrating into society and how difficult it is for them. It's very difficult for former convicts to just get employment, get bank cards, especially in America, to get credit cards, to get housing. So is it no surprise that the return or retention is very high in societies like that? My personal belief is that if you give someone all the right guidance, love, support, skills, and purpose, they won't become serial killers, axe murderers, rapists, or whatever. I have been jaded by my experience because I have seen people who, in spite of guidance I've offered, many of them have returned to unhealthy habits, whether it's picking fights or just being around the wrong people. And I can't really blame them because I myself, when I was their age, I thought I knew better. And as a friend of mine said, sometimes you have to learn from your own mistakes instead of ours, even if we want to be like Holden Caulfield, catching kids in the rye. But that's life. So I point this toilet here because part of what makes me feel that I need to better myself, part of my motivation. At my worst, I think I'm a piece of shit. I think I'm a massive fuck up. I can back it up with everything wrong I did, whether it's to my ex-girlfriends or to friends and other people in life. Some people I've just said, I wish you would die. Come on now, who does that? I did. I'd say hurtful things to my ex-Dana, like I would say, you're low class, you're stupid, you're uneducated. And I never meant that. I just said that because I wanted to hurt her. My failing is when I got angry, I wanted to hurt people. I wanted to hurt them, not because it made me feel good. I wanted to hurt them because I was hurting, and I wanted them to feel guilty about hurting me. But life doesn't work that way. Everyone's focused on their own hurt, and they're responding to how you present yourself. So, second chances, redemption, atonement, and forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness is underrated. It can feel very hard at times because you think of all the hurt that's been caused to you. It can feel very hard because you want to hold on to that anger. It's easier to demonize someone, and yet there's a famous Russian author, I think it was Solzhenitsyn, who said how easy it would be to just create a dividing line in everyone's hearts, to cut out what is good and what is evil, but humans are complex. So to my friend, whom I met in Thailand, living in Bangladesh now, when she says some people don't deserve second chances, some people are just complete assholes, I say, well, if I'm blinded by a Buddhist philosophy, which is also Christian and a universal principle, mind you, who's to say that she might be blinded by her anger or her resentment? I'm not doing this to trash her. I'm doing this as a counterpoint and to give credit to her because I love her and I care for her, and our arguments are not so much as arguments or disagreements, but a matter of growth and the ability to learn and consider. Hypothesis, antithesis, synthesis. I believe that's the right order if I remember my old high school and college literature studies classes and rhetoric. So, when it comes to second chances, I think of all the guilt that I have and all the shame that I have about who I was and the fuck-ups I've had in life. I recognize, hey man, you gotta be better. If people treat you like a piece of shit, two things are possible. Immediately, two things are recognizable, but they're not the only things. The first is, you just might be a piece of shit. The other thing is, the people looking at you may not realize that you could actually be a diamond in the rough. So, think of it this way. You can do everything right, but if you just happen to be a person of color amongst the Ku Klux Klan, nothing you do will be seen as right. So, you can't please everyone. What you can do, however, is be sensible. Focus on what you can control about yourself, better yourself. You may not get a second chance. You may not even be given that first chance to begin with. All you can know is that you can validate this by how you feel about the effort you put into every moment of your life, choosing to be better. You could say sorry, but that doesn't fix things. You can choose to be better. A line I really love from the beginning of this God of War game on the PS4, where Kratos says, "Do not be sorry, be better." I would actually change that to be sorry and be better. When you show true remorse and willingness to improve, then you can truly choose to be better. Let me tell you now about Crossroads Cafe, a social enterprise. City Daddy's recording. A social enterprise in San Francisco. Everyone there is a former convict. As I mentioned earlier, it's very hard to get employment when you've been incarcerated. So that's a kind of organization that believes in second chances. You also have a program called restorative justice, where people who have committed those crimes sit down and discuss lessons learned, involve themselves in dialogue with others, especially those whom they've wronged, to come to an agreement and recognize efforts to be better. Seek forgiveness, and not to create the identity around you have one massive fuck up, you can never atone for that. Obviously, we can't necessarily say that genocidal dictators can be forgiven or that they should be pardoned, but we can say that human beings are very complex, and who knows what exists in the hearts and minds of men and women. We have many differences, values, struggles, and traumas. We can't judge someone's current state or previous interaction and use that against them for the rest of their life. I will eventually reveal a lot of the shitty things I've done in life, especially to my ex Dana, and other things I've said to people and done. You don't need to unearth me like you would Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, wearing blackface. I will call out my own mistakes. I will recognize I was a shitty person trying to be better. No, not trying, working on being better. And even when I am better, I will continue to be beyond that. Old Zen saying, when you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing. I have a martial arts teacher. I've had a few. Even if they attain master status, they all feel the same way, that they're frauds and that they need to be better. Always striving for improvement. So, even if I hit my goal, or when I hit my goal of being better, there's always room for improvement. Just do shit. When I was in my previous relationship, and now that I've been out of it for 2 years, I can recognize with gratitude and love and remorse for how I just didn't take my ex Dana. I took her for granted and I didn't appreciate her. I didn't appreciate my dad. I didn't appreciate a lot of things in life that I have. I still have a hard time appreciating what I've accomplished and what I have now. Yet, the scarcity, being alone and being ostracized, I'm also grateful for that, because when I lived with Dana, my ex, she cooked, she cleaned, she put up with my bullshit. I heard her so many times, verbally. I never said I love you enough. I never demonstrated that. I never had a desire to be better, because I carried a lot of resentment and contempt. And I said a lot of things out of anger. I always felt like I was owed sex, because I felt like a prisoner in that relationship, and she felt like a servant, because her love language was service, and I wasn't giving her the basic affection, care, and recognition for her efforts. Massive effort to put up with my bullshit. In my time of scarcity, all the things that she did are things I've learned. Whether it's my habit of just picking up a broom and cleaning because no one's going to clean up after my shit, making my bed, finding a way to earn, living within my means even if I don't have high income. I need to make things work. Learning skills like cooking, learning to draw, learning guitar, all those things are there, but without that motivation, without that push, the world is at our fingertips, especially with the internet, many resources. The quality of free stuff, however, may not be very high. What's publicly available as well that you can pay for may not always be the best, but you have options, and you can strive to be better every time. Just do shit. So here I am telling you that, yes, you do deserve a second chance. You grant yourself a second chance every day. As long as you're doing shit, you will know that You are not the same person you were yesterday when you wake up this morning. And when you go to sleep this evening, you're not the same person you were this morning. If you keep that thought in your mind, to be better. Just do shit. That is how you become better. So, a few closing thoughts there. Am I better than my first video? Yes, I am, objectively. Can I be a lot better? Yes. I want to be a lot better. I don't want to be a piece of shit. I don't want to be a fuck up. But I will publicly and openly accept and show where I have fucked up and take responsibility for that. Every day, your habits, your routines, your choices are what help you choose to be better. Whether anyone recognizes it or forgives you or grants you that second chance. Of course you're not entitled to it. Of course you do deserve it. But if everyone else and you and the universe know that you've done everything to be better, the person who you've wronged or the people you've wronged, whatever, if they refuse to accept that and they want to hold on to their anger and their hurt, that's their struggle and that's their journey, and you're not responsible for that. All you can do is move forward. I would love to be forgiven by my ex. I would love to be back with her. But logically speaking, you can't expect things to work out your way, which is why I choose to be better no matter what the outcome, but also what about my intent of what I truly desire. And to give credit to her, because it's that push that inspires me to be better. So, Dana, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. Everyone who's watching this, thank you for the time you spent here. Thank you for any comment you leave. Thank you for any support you give. We will be back completely open, sincere, and vulnerable.